And what Austrians love is they work a lot, they work hard, but they also play hard, which means they like to go for a drink, for a beer with their friends and colleagues after work. They also, like to gather and join. Maybe also let me know in the chat, have someone of you already been in Austria? Maybe raise your hand or give a thumb if you've been to Austria, if you've already seen the country or been here. And now let's go into the most important part, the work. You want to understand how you will be treated when you come here. And very important and information that I will give you in Austria, every contract, every work contract will give you 14 months of salary. So twice a year you get a bonus. Usually it's in June, July, and then in December that you get the same amount of salary again. It's like an additional bonus. This is by law in every industry, which might make it a bit complex when you look at if you compare salaries, for example, with Germany, because in Germany there's just 12 months. So, but don't worry, everything that I will show you is always calculated for you in an annual net salary. Because we have the gross salary, that's what you earn, like on the payslip. But then on the payslip, there's also some deductions, and the net salary is what you get each month in the end and the end of the year. So I will provide you all the values then in net salary per year, so you really understand what is the money at hand in my bank account that I will have the whole year. Okay. Very important, working hours and overtime and such. We have a very strict labor protection. And so when you come here, there are certain rules that usually are no one should work more than 8 hours. There is, of course, in some industries, like in shift work, where you can work up to 12 hours. But then there are some certain rules that you have to take some time off. So no one can require you to work 7 days a week, 12 hours. If something like that would happen, you would have a contact person, you could report that. And as well, companies have to respect that and also give you the time to rest. So everything is written down here in detail. You can read this later because it's, of course, very specific topics and use cases. And also, again, it depends on which industry you work in. But in general, what you can remember as well, you have up to 5 weeks of paid leave. So when you have holiday, you will also get your salary, which means, especially you want to fly home, ideally you can talk to your employer that you can say, can I take a month off for the 5 weeks and take all my holiday together to visit my family back home in India or such. So that's very important. And sick leave as well. When you are sick, usually within the first 3 days, when you say, I don't feel well, you should visit a doctor and also show that you're not just staying at home because you don't feel like going to work. They really want to see a proof. But every time you're able to provide this proof from a doctor, you get your payment. You get your normal salary, even though you're sick. So that's really important. Of course, in some cases where you're off for a very long time, then there might be some reduction in salary, but this depends on the certain on specific use cases. And usually, so the moment you start to work and you're being registered in Austria, you already have the full healthcare, national healthcare protection. That's why we have a gross salary. So that's all the money you should get, but then it's already deducted the pension contribution. So if you want to retire one day in Austria, and also the healthcare. And then there's the payslip. We have a whole, in our blog section, you can see this. I have also added it here. There's many different Austrian words to explain you all, like additional payments. There's night shift. If you work extra hours, all of that is in your payslip. And later when you get it, your first one, this will become handy and you will understand better how it works. Also, the work permits that we give you is usually 2 years. If you extend it after 2 years, you get another 3 years. And in those 3 years, so in the first 2 years, it's very important that you keep your job, because in case you get unemployed, you don't get unemployment money from the state. You can, of course, switch the employer and find a new one within 6 months. But once you are in this second, the red card plus, which is another 3 years, in case you get laid off or you want to leave the job, you even have the right to receive some money from the state in case you don't have find a new job. It's, of course, less than what you would earn, but it's usually enough to at least cover your expenses. And then there's many other benefits. It depends on which companies we talk about and where you will end up. Today, I will present you all the jobs at the main railway company in Austria. So all those benefits I'm listing here are mainly for them, which means you get free access to the train and travel through Austria. There's some specific family support, and there's a good network in the company, and especially a lot of professional development to learn new things.